Have you ever gone to the carnival and gone in one of those fun houses where there's all these mirrors that are distorting your image and stretching you out in all these weird ways? It's like up is down and left is right, and you're not sure what's real. That's what gaslighting is like. Your images and your perspectives are distorted. You don't know what's real. The gaslighter begins to plant a seed of doubt in their victim's mind. It starts to cause that person to question themselves, their memories, their mind, and eventually their own sanity. For example, let's say you're going to an event with this person and you guys are going along and everything is fine. And then they ask you, hey, did you bring such and such? Because I really needed that. And you're like, no, I didn't bring that. I didn't know that you wanted me to. And they're like, oh no, I told you that I wanted you to bring it. And you're like, I don't remember that conversation. And then you kind of get the blame and then you accept the blame and you're like, well, obviously this person wouldn't just lie to me. So I must have forgotten and I'm sorry. I'll try to do better in the future. And then that person kind of makes you feel bad and makes you feel guilty. And also that person kind of makes you feel like, how could you not remember this? Even though it didn't actually happen. And when those little conversations happen over and over and over time, then that person starts to wonder what is wrong with them. They start to wonder, how come I can't remember things anymore accurately? How come I remember this experience, but this person says that it happened this way and I must be losing my mind or something? As those conversations and that seed of doubt continues to get planted and watered and it starts to grow, the victim starts to distrust themselves more and more and more. And they start to really feel afraid regularly. They start to feel confused regularly. And so they become dependent on their gaslighter then. And then that gives the gaslighter even more control over their reality. And when this is combined with the tactic of isolation, when that person is isolating the victim from friends or family, or always trying to pull them away, always trying to keep them away from other people, then that multiplies the effect. And that's where you're locked in that psychological funhouse and you don't know how to get out. Because then they're relying on them almost solely for their source of truth. Very scary place to be. Another powerful tool that the gaslighter uses is actually not just gaslighting you, but gaslighting the people around you. And it really can get dangerous when that person is going to your closest friends and family and they're planting seeds of doubt in their minds about your sanity, about your memories, your recollection of things. And they're like, wow, this person, I don't know what's going on with them lately. Like they really are having trouble. When those thoughts are getting implanted in the people closest to you, then the gaslighting is like a bully effect where you have multiple people telling you that you're not okay. And it's all based off of one person's testimony. And it can come across like that person is really coming from a place of concern, and it is just another powerful tool that a gaslighter uses, which is to pit those closest to the victim against them as well. Watch out for these signs. Thankfully, there are things that you can do about your situation. Even if it's really bad and you feel really confused, really fearful, really hopeless, there are things that you can do to help yourself get out of that funhouse. Whenever you have a memory that you know happened or you believe very strongly that it happened, and somebody else is telling you that it did not happen or it was totally different the way they're describing it, take their testimony into account. It could be that that person has a different perspective and they're not out to hurt you. That's always a possibility. But if this is a regular thing that's ongoing and you find this is a pattern, that's a cause for concern, and it should be alerting your little red flag warning system. When that starts to happen, stop and say, okay, just because this person has a different memory than I do for the same situation, it doesn't make it true. It just makes it a different perspective. But if they're saying flat out, it did not happen, do not just immediately accept what somebody else says over you as fact if your memory is telling you the opposite. So number one is not just accepting somebody else's testimony as fact when your brain is telling you otherwise. Then the number two thing is investigate. Go on a search for what is true. If you're talking about an event where other people were present or things like that, search out the other people and ask them if such and such happened. Look for ways to validate the story. It's okay to be on a quest for truth when you're trying to know what is real. There may not always be ways to do that, to validate a story, but at least for any possible opportunity, it's a really good habit to make if you're constantly being told that your memories are false or that you're super forgetful. What you then have to be on your guard with, though, is that that person, if they're really good, then they can still find a way to twist it and make it out like, oh no, it was you, even with evidence supporting it. That's when you know it's really bad. When your eyes are seeing evidence and your ears are hearing evidence that is contrary to what this person is saying, but your brain is choosing to override the evidence that you see with your own eyes and ears and to believe the gaslighter. That's when you know it's time to do something about this. That's why not accepting what somebody says immediately as fact is so key, and then investigating and searching out evidence to confirm one way or the other. If you are being isolated at the same time that you're being gaslit, it would be really useful also to get around some other people, to make some other friends, to be in contact with your family if those are healthy relationships that you should be in. That way you're getting other perspectives. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse or psychological abuse. And if you are looking for more information on that, you can check out my video on emotional abuse. That can also reveal to you even more on this topic. I'm Jamie Lynette with Jamie Lynette Coaching. Let's get out of the psychological funhouse and back to reality. Let's move forward together.